Um, Shaheen, do you recall you were part of the first photo club?
I remember that. That was adorable. I look back at the work that I made then, and it really inspires me actually, because I had a certain drive back then that I don't want to say I don't have it now, but it was very much like different and just innocent in its own way. Like,
That's cool. So, and that's why it's kind of heartwarming that he is here, because I remember he was like, we're going to have this photo club, Miss G. And I was like, okay. And you hardly ever met, but when you did, you guys were so enthusiastic. I'm going to turn over in about 1 minute. Callan, if you could get the band ready so we could take a look at the work. And our first challenge was freestyle, whatever anybody wanted to kind of send in. And next challenge is call.
It's be a tourist in your own city, right?
Be a tourist in your own city. And for many people, you could say that is LA, or you could say that is La Cañada, or you could say that's your backyard, right? So it's kind of open to interpretation. It can be landscape, it can be people that you discover as a tourist in your own background, like environmental portraits of people in the neighborhood that you probably walked by or didn't know were there. Like, you know, sometimes I go into Target and I see people like, oh, I know that person even behind their mask, right? Leave it open, be creative, and have fun with it. And that's the whole purpose, is just to have some fun. All right, so I'm going to give you sharing rights because I think we're gonna get started. Make you the co-host.
Okay.
And I think we talked about the way that we're going to view the work is to put a mark on the work as you see it, and give it like a smiley heart face if you really like it, and don't if you don't. And if anybody wants to speak up about their work, then you can. We said that 5 was the max you could upload, and we'll have one first place winner, second place, and a third place winner. The first place winner will get the opportunity to replace my photo for the photo club, that banner that's there, plus a gift card, and you get to take over the Instagram for a week. And one more thing, and I can't remember what it was, but a newspaper will get all 3 prizes, all 3 entries. So first, second, and third place, the school newspaper. So let's see what you got. Oh, I should be playing some music. Hold on. All right. So go ahead and add your smiley icon face to the ones that you absolutely love. And then the officers and I will kind of tell you who the winners are. And is that your work, Dylan, where it says recent? Is that your playing with light?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. You'll have to confer with Ed Brown about how he did some of his work. That's pretty cool. All right, so thank you guys for submitting. Is there any one of the works that you want one of the people that are here to talk about, explain?
Dylan, did you use did you do any photoshopping on your photo at Oxnard?
The one with like the boat.
Yeah.
I just edited it in Lightroom, but no like real editing.
Good question. I have a question.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. Go up to the Michigan series in the water. For me, this, I don't know, these are the photos that stick with me the most. I think it's like pseudo documentary, but at the same time it's like it's family heritage. It's little moments like this that really attract me to it, and especially the one of the father swimming in the water. Go one more over. Yeah, this one. That's gorgeous.
I love the depth of the water, the vastness, and the color ranges are really beautiful.
Yeah, and the subtle abstraction of the arm just punching out. Yeah, it makes you look.
Yeah. So, Jaden, did you use film for this one?
No, this is my Nikon D3400. And then all of them, obviously, I did some Photoshop work, mostly with the colors. Like I did black and white and then removed some of the colors from it.
Very cool.
But thank you.
I love the layers. It's just like the layers and layers and the ripples in the water, and it's really gorgeous. Good job. Nice. All right. So the plan is at 3:15. We're going to start our program. So if there are any more questions, you've got a couple more minutes to ask questions about the work. I'm interested in Lena's work. Lena, your flower. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I like the contrast between that red and the green background. And there's that little hint right there. Every time I look at it, I look at that little piece of turquoise behind the flower, and I want to know, like, what is that?
Were the sprinklers on for this shot?
Yeah, I was just on a walk, and this was just there were just sprinklers on some random yards, so I just took a photo.
Beautiful. No, the streaking of the water droplets, it like energizes it too.
Thank you.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that one's kind of cool. I like that. It's like a Hallmark card. Sweet.
Miss G, am I allowed to give my little take on it?
Yes, please.
The flower shot with the water, with the rain coming down, is giving me like, to me, I'm getting the movie American Beauty, where it's, of course, the iconic red roses that are kind of provocative, and something's happening there, something more than just the flower, but you can't really put your finger on what it is. That's what I saw first.
Yeah.
Like American Beauty movie kind of moment.
Especially with the droplets of water coming down. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really cool. All right. Oh, did somebody just add one? What, did I miss something? Oh no.
I may, Miss G.
Yes.
If you could scroll up to the dark photo with the girl with the chapstick or the lipstick. Yes, that one. I'm always so interested in photos that have movement, or like where poses or movement or the shape of how like a body is being presented tells me a story, or like it gives me an opinion about like what is going on. There's like intention in like in the pose or in the frame of a person, and you know, taking pictures in the dark with flash, it's either hit and miss, because you know sometimes you could overexpose a picture or sometimes you could underexpose a picture. And I love how this came out. And you know, I always think of Mulholland Drive. Yeah.
I love the white lipstick, chapstick or whatever that is in her hand, and the framing, how you've got, you know, the framing of the door. I know the door is open. I know that it's like, hold on, I'm hang on, I'm, you know, it's, and we've all done that as women, like, wait, and, you know, pose in the rear view mirror. If I were going to name this photo, it would be rear view mirror for sure. Pretty cool. All right, very nice. Thank you all for contributing your comments and taking a look at all this new young work that's out here as we continue our photo contest. And we will let you know who will be the winners for this first one, freestyle. So now I want to turn it over to our guest. And ladies first, Shahin. So we're going to have Emily. Emily and Shahin are here today to present their work, to talk about their journey as photographers. And I haven't seen, the last time I saw Emily, I bumped into her at the Burbank airport.
Yeah.
She was going to New Orleans and I was going somewhere, and we bumped into each other. And we both looked at each other like we were in the wrong place. It was a pretty funny moment. And the last time I saw Shahin, who knows? Gosh, it's been a while.
I think since graduation. It's a shame that this is the time I get to see you again.
But I'm here, you're here, and we're all good, right? We're all good.
Here, yeah.
So they're going to tell us a little bit about where they've been, where they're going, show us their work. And Emily, I'm going to give you sharing rights and make you the co-host. And you can start talking, and I can turn down the music a little bit.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Emily Jilg. I took Miss G's photo class 10 years ago. So I was a senior in high school. And actually my now husband and I actually sort of fell in love in Miss G's class. So true story. But anyways, you know, my business is a spice blend and kind of food community. I was at the LA Times for 6 years. I left to pursue my dream of kind of creating this this community of people that loved food and loved color and vibrancy and boldness. So, and I think that kind of comes through in my photography, which kind of was by osmosis. I was learning as I was going through, you know, starting my own business and realizing that I needed to work on continue to my photo journey and work on my photography. And I'll show you what I've done so far, and then, you know, you guys can get your interpretation of kind of what my vision is, and then we can talk about it a little bit.
All right. So if everybody could get their screen to black so we're not distracted, that would be really cool. And I believe it would be stop video, maybe? Yeah, cool. And that way we can just focus on your work.
Okay, so we ready?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. As you can see, I really like to play with the contrasting colors, really bright, vibrant texture, playing with texture. Color, and actually this is a pretty neat shot because if you look at the spoon, you'll see something else there too. Here is an example, a little bit of playing with your food, literally. As you can see in the background, we're kind of playing with the noodles, and it actually says in the back, noodles. And by getting these different angles, you can really understand the movement of the food and actually eating it, and maybe what it actually even tastes like. This is a really, like, I love this image. It's pickled eggs, but it's really stark, and the colors are like so interesting. You can really focus on the peppercorns that are in there, and it's like they have it's like their own little, I don't know, universe in there. I love it. Again, here we're kind of playing with textures and movement and the act of actually eating. It makes you almost like feel like you could literally lean in and take a bite. This is just playing with color, and then also duality of, for me, different types of food. So this is actually Indian food that you're eating as a taco. So it's a Mexican Indian fusion, if you will. This is actually, I think this is the last shot, which I wanted this to be the last shot because this was one of the first things that I started photographing seriously when I started my food business, my spice blend business, and sharing recipes and videos. And this is a special recipe to me. This was my my late grandmother's caramel roll recipe. And I remember really wanting to give it justice and thinking that I loved this picture. Now looking at it, you know, I feel like I've really grown from this picture, but you can still see the movement in the food and the richness of it and the stickiness of it, and just how the color of it, the goldenness, like you can almost taste it. And that's me and my now hubby and our two puppies, but just so you guys can get a little snapshot about me. And I'll go back to, how do I, okay. Nope. Am I back?
I know. So if you can,
I see me back now.
No. Try one more time. You are.
Resume share. Going back to me?
Somehow you have to unshare yourself. And I think it's sharing your screen at the bottom.
Stop share.
Yep.
There we go. Okay.
All right. Let's come back now and give some conversation to the work. And thank you, Elodie.
Is that real food that you photographed, or is it fake?
That's all real food. all very yummy, real, very real food. So could you guys hear me while I was going through describing? You could? Okay. Yeah, it's all food, real food that you eat, and it's delicious.
Is that unusual? Because a lot I went to the Pasadena photo clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Had a session about a week ago, and the photographer, he's a mixologist,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying that that's unusual to use real food, that usually when you're putting these kind of things together, you're using fake food to look real. And
Yeah.
so what are some of the challenges that you have when you're creating the food and then also creating the photo shoots for the food?
So when I understand why probably a lot of like McDonald's, let's say, or like major companies that, or like a lot of times breakfast cereal is like not real, and like the milk's not real when you're taking a photograph. And the reason why is because food's alive. Like when you make it, it's kind of like when you eat, a delicious meal, there's so much time before it starts to lose its life. And that means its color, its viscosity, its shape, its, the way that it's put together. There's a short amount of time that you get when the food's hot and it actually looks like beautiful. And then it starts to lose its life a little bit. So, I mean, for somebody like me, I'm gonna shoot all of my food when it's real, and it's in the moment, and it's right when, like with the soups, even I always, if I even feel like the soup's not hot enough in the picture, you can tell. So I actually make my soup hot and photograph it when it's hot, because I feel like you can really tell in the photo. Maybe I'm nuts, I don't know, but I can feel it when the soup doesn't look hot enough. Or the donuts, the first one is, those are some donuts. Those were straight out of the oven, and they were like these warm, fluffy donuts. And after a couple of hours, they might not be as delicate and fluffy and light. So to me, it's very much about shooting the food being alive, and you can feel it in the picture, and like with the biscuits and gravy with an egg that's, just barely cooked perfectly enough so that when you cut it open, it just dances all over the plate in a way that you can't redo it unless you have to redo the whole thing. And you've got like 5 shots. So that's the whole thing about setting up the shot, is like, it's like sports almost. It's like, okay, this moment is gonna happen for about 5 or 6 seconds. And when that moment's done, I'm not gonna get it back. When you cut open an egg and its yolk is just spreading out in such like a beautiful kind of artistic way, you've got, you got a couple of shots and before it's done. So
that was beautifully said.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you match the feeling of actually experiencing the food in those images, because it's all like time relative. And I don't know, every photo I've seen of soup, usually it's like horrendous, but you gave it life to it with the little swirl of oil on top. It brings it to life. And that's probably one of the hardest things to shoot.
Soup is hard to shoot, especially that soup. I actually wanted to include that picture because that's split pea soup. Think about split pea soup. Think about eating split pea soup. And like, I loved this soup because I love it. But split pea soup is not anything sexy or pretty or cute or nothing. It is ugly. It is green, brown. And, you're trying to create this. You're trying to make the color of it a beautiful thing instead of a green brown situation, which you can do with the contrasting colors and these really interesting shots where you're not just shooting down on this soup, you know, just straight down. You know, you can cut it off a little bit, make it a little interesting with the spoon and get a little bit reflection of the photographer in the spoon. And you're just bringing more curiosity and interest into literally split pea soup.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Some more questions out there.
Any other questions? I could talk about it all day. So
what are you using to shoot with?
I'm using I'm an old camera. It's a Canon that was my husband's in your photo class. And I reclaimed it. And I actually was talking to my dad about this today though, because I was letting him know that I was doing this. And I said, yeah, I'm actually shooting with an old Canon Rebel, I think Rebel 2, it's around here somewhere, but it's an older camera. And he said, you know, camera, it doesn't really matter how old the camera is. It's if your lens is good, your lens is good. And I've had fun with that camera. I feel like I shoot all of my work in natural light. I feel like that's so important for the right color of the food to shine. And you know, I use the light that I've got and my Canon and just try to make the food feel alive, as alive as possible.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So we've got like a couple more minutes with Emily. Anybody from the audience can chime in and ask a question or two, or 7.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So you said you were working at the LA Times before?
I was working at the LA Times. I was there for 6 years. Actually, I dedicated about 8 years of my life to the LA Times, but after college, I worked there for 6 years in marketing, advertising, and sales. And it was great while I was there until it wasn't. And I kind of took a leap of faith to start my own business. I always wanted to do this. I always, you know, since I was a kid, I grew up always wanting to, you know, people would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I would say, I want to be the boss. So whatever that means to you, I want to be the boss of it. And I took it really seriously and really wanted, I think, so much of a brand and so much of any company is the visual representation of it. And which is, you know, what you guys just saw. It's very much me in photos. It's a lot of color. As you can see, I like to wear a lot of color. And it's having a sense of restraint, but also like really pushing the boundary at the same time. So whether that's using white space or whether that's using, you know, it's like a very stark, like the pickled egg picture. There's not that much going on there. It's eggs with some red wine vinegar, some, you know, chives and peppercorns. And I think that having like this restraint to just really focus in on the beauty of this little, you know, universe, it almost looks like when you look it down into this pickled egg jar. There's something beautiful about that, but then there's also something beautiful about, you know, those Indian tacos that have like so much going on. You see the yogurt, you see the you know, the salsa, the roti is the tortilla, if you will, and there's a lot to unpack there. So that was kind of my long-winded. So you worked at the LA Times for 6 years, but yes, I did, and here I am now doing this. So
your passion was not at the LA Times.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. So I'm doing the passion now, which I think for any of the students or anyone else that's listening, it's so lovely to do, you know, have your job be your passion be your job. But it's challenging because you're constantly wanting to, I was talking to Miss G about this before this webinar started, but you're constantly striving for a sense of doing it right, making it perfect. And I've had this conversation with my mom before, that my parents own their own business. And I've asked her, I said, Mom, when does it feel like you finally get it right and you're not treading water? And she kind of laughed and said, well, never. You're always going to be wanting to swim. You're going to be swimming, but there's always going to be a new wave. There's always going to be a current. There's always going to be something that is going to make you want to strive for the right way or perfection in a different way. So for any of you that are wanting to do something different, start your own business, whatever it may be, know that it's not easy to get it right the first or second, third, fourth time, but you just got to keep going and keep learning and keep pushing yourself. And you're not alone. So
Thank you.
that's what I got.
Well said. Well said.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right. I'm hungry now.
Are you? Good. That's the goal.
Makes my my bagels that I made. And please make sure that you follow Emily on Instagram. And it's in Emily's Kitchen, right? Am I
Yep, in Emily's Kitchen.
I put that on the post. So I'm hoping that we have at least 16 more followers today for you.
Great.
And and she does a live cooking show on her Instagram feed every now and again. You'll see her in her kitchen dancing around and making food. And I sometimes it makes me laugh, but it makes me hungry. And sometimes I learn something by watching her cooking shows. So do tune in. I see you dancing around. You got your, Carlton has his dance. Emily has her dance.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. It's such an honor. Miss G, you are a G. You are the coolest. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this webinar. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I've been following everybody that's here. I've been following everybody for a while. So I'm going to pause for a moment, and I'm going to transition to make Shahin Ansari the co-host, and we're going to hear about his photographic journey since 2016, such a long time ago. Whoa, such an old man.
Awesome. Emily, I just saw that you follow my sister on Instagram too. You're muted right now.
Sorry, I just was muted. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys knew each other. Nice.
All right, so a recent fresh grad, as he likes to call himself, the fresh grad of Art Center is here in the house, Mr. Shahin Ansari.
Wow, I can't tell you how nervous I am talking to you guys. I am more nervous talking to high school students and past peers than anything else, because you guys are the ones that inspire me the most. And so yeah, let me just give a brief introduction. My name is Shahin. I grew up in the hills of Altadena, and Miss G is my queen. She was the one that really pushed me in high school to actually cover events and to actually follow my passion. And it all started off just by shooting my friends skateboarding. They thought they were real cool. They could go pro or something. And slowly they realized that wasn't a dream. And I started to cover more events for the school and doing assembly videos. And I realized what really intrigued me about photography in the first place was the science behind it and just the way you can capture emotion and motion. My goal as a photographer is to capture a heightened illustration of life, something that plays with the before and after, and something that feels live and fun. And the first image I'm showing you guys is of my sister's eye. She is someone I look up to dearly in my life, and she's the one that actually, I know I just credited Miss G for pushing me creatively, but she's also another woman in my life that has pushed me to where I am now, and this is how I look up to her and aspire to be something larger than life. And I love playing with experimental processes and toy cameras. Doesn't matter what device it is. Anything that makes me feel like a kid again, I want to embrace it. And this is a flower that I found in my mom's garden. It was a periwinkle that fell off the bush, and I hated to see it just rot away on the sidewalk. So I actually took it in the backyard and burned it at night, just to see what that transition would be. Not just that emotion. So yeah, this was actually an in-class shoot for a fashion assignment. It's really funny because the professor was saying, oh, we need to get these headshots, the quarter view, like all of the traditional means of portraiture. But the way this model carried herself and in this environment is what motivated me to use a slit scan process in bringing motion into this. And growing up in Altadena and going to school in La Cañada, you get to meet a lot of people that have large dreams, people that aspire to be musicians, people that take the city and make it their own. And I think it's a shame not to show these individuals in their spaces. So I'm really trying to push more towards environmental portraiture and capturing people in spaces. And this was a series I did on my iPhone for another class, but this was a good old friend that I took down to the LA River, and we played with the panoramic mode. And really what I want to stress is the process should never be something that disrupts you in capturing a portrait or a landscape. Even though something can be broken or it doesn't work to your liking, that in itself is a gift, and that should be embraced. This was for a fashion lookbook. This was another good friend of mine down by the Devil's Gate Dam near JPL. And actually for this shoot, my lens had broken. So I found an old kit lens that wasn't meant for this camera, but it created a lovely vignette around the whole image. And I try to use that to assist the composition. And one thing that, a personal project of mine that I'm trying to push more now is just capturing family portraits. And I think the greatest fear I have as I grow older is memory loss. And this is a photo of my grandpa after he experienced his second stroke. And this is him at the nursing home, which sits directly in front of the mountains that he used to climb just 10 years ago. And so when I approached this image, I didn't know what this would mean in the moment. It felt like a document. but I didn't want to leave it at that. And I asked my mom, like, what's so important about Grandpa's connection with the mountains? Why would he take me up there and like tell me these stories of what he would see at 6 a.m. hiking up? And I was told that he had won a medal back in Iran for mountain climbing and actually venturing off into unknown territory. And this is sort of my photographic redemption, in a sense, to match that feeling and that history, and match the actual motion in both of these materials. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me stop sharing.
Can you go back to the long panoramic vision that you had, number 11? You skipped over
11. Oh, this one. Yeah, this was, I broke into the dam at JPL. Not really break in, but near the construction area, you can just walk up and go through these little access gates or whatever. But yeah, this wasn't very planned in ahead of time. It's just me showing a friend that isn't local to the area, someone that's new to Los Angeles, what spaces are available. And this is a place that I've been driving by my whole life. I've heard stories of people going there, and I was always scared to go. But it's this sort of architecture that it's these man-made objects that stand the test of time, and the way that nature overcomes it and all that stuff. I want to be able to document that, but this in itself is sort of a monolith in the JPL area. Like, it's this large concrete man-made object that has nowhere else to go.
Cool. It intrigued me when I saw it on the Art Center website. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I know that place, but I don't know that place. Very cool. All right. So let us talk about some of the work, if anybody wants to. You unshared again, but you might be asked to share again as people ask you questions about your work. So I'm going to make speaker's view you. So start talking.
I have a question. There was one of the shots, I think it was of your friend. He was in that white tank top. Did you have a flash on him, or how did you? It seemed like there was like a sense of like warm light coming.
Yeah, let me actually share the screen again, just so I can walk you guys through. Yeah, this was just with a small like on-camera strobe, where I just took it off to the side, and the sun's actually setting to the left of camera.
Okay.
And I felt in order to like contour properly, I wanted to cast the light from that side. Also, this could have been achieved by just using a really shiny card. There's still light out, but strobe lighting isn't what makes images for me, really. It's like, if you can have a sense of control of light, much like how you isolate your food in that space and have a consistency and contouring the shapes, that shows expertise in lighting control and knowledge. And that's something that's probably the most important thing that I learned from going to an art college, which was be a master of light. They're not going to teach you they're not going to tell you what concepts are good. They're going to be giving their own opinion on concepts, and that's for something you need to discover. And it's not a 4-year degree where you finish it and you're done necessarily. It was like, oh, here's just like one step for you to continue for the rest of your life. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, there was a light.
It does. I agree though with, become a master of light. Light is it's everything for me in my pictures, in my photos. So I get that.
Can't have shadow without a light source.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have an image without a single speck of light.
Right.
Actually, the first memory I have of being in school it was the first class too. I was terrified. I was 17 at the time. I was the youngest kid in the class, and I walk in, pitch black. He has all the lights off, and he's like sitting in the corner of the room, and he takes like this towel and like puts it at the edge of the door so not even light from the hall can go in. And we're all sitting there like, is this the right classroom? Who the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
And at his desk, he lights a match, and this match is like sitting a little bit lower, like waist level. And you see this giant shadow of him on the wall, and he starts talking about philosophy and how he almost lost his sight as a teenager, and that's why he teaches what he does now. So yeah, kind of a terrifying experience, but that's something you don't forget, which is
absolutely.
Wow. Art center scared me. I must admit I punked out, but I was an adult with 2 kids and a full-time job. I don't know what I was thinking.
No, I feel very blessed in the sense that I grew up here and I have a home to be at while I was attending that school. I know a lot of kids that had to make rent while they're at school and they had to work at school, which sometimes cut their education short. But I'd say I'm very privileged in the sense that I was able to grow up here.
So what cameras are you using? You said you use toy cameras. I always find a variety of, I'm not stuck on like, I'm only a Canon user, only a Nikon user. I am like, give me a camera and we'll figure it out kind of person. And it seems that you are the same way, multi-camera'd. Yeah. So talk to me about some of the instruments that you use to create the art that you do, and why do you experiment with these cameras?
I think it just comes out of sheer fascination. It really all started in your class, I gotta say, which was, I don't know if you remember this Lomo camera we built.
I do.
But this was a little 35 millimeter, like build it yourself camera with like a top-down viewfinder. And yeah, from that I was like, how does this box capture an image? Like that's wild. So I'm actually working on another panoramic camera here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm making the actual film plane curved. So it's gonna have sort of a bow tie effect, similar to like a lot of like old CinemaScope images. So yeah, and the toy cameras I was using, they're for like, one of them's meant for like, it was meant for like tracking golf swings back in like the 90s. And then other stereo cameras as well. There's like the Nishika and stuff like that. But
so do you go to when there was the camera show in Pasadena, I mean, I have, somebody gave me a really nice guy in Altadena on our Altadena's Best or something, Facebook, a cabinet. So I have a cabinet full of all kinds of cameras and camera equipment. And I know Booker is a camera maker as well. Something he also learned in my class.
I heard you guys started up the darkroom again. Right, when I was talking to Adam, I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah.
It was mostly him. You should really thank him.
But Booker also, he makes cameras. He made a camera as well.
Yeah, I made a pinhole camera, which is so awesome. It's super easy to do. Yeah. just a box in a hole.
And a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend that he set up I don't know if you know those solar cans, but it's basically just a tall can that you put photographic paper in, and you can leave it out for like 6 months with a pinhole exposure, and you don't develop the film actually. Over that time, it will like etch into the film without being processed. So my friend would like put these cameras up for like 6 months at a time, like one in his car, one on a palm tree, and he would have like 30 seconds to scan it right after pulling it out of the camera, because then the emulsion would just be messed up. And if he developed it, it would just be black. So there's a lot of fun to be had with pinholes, and it's real cheap.
Is there a name for that process, or?
Just look up solar can.
Solar can, cool.
Solar can. I think they sell them, but honestly, just make your own. Like,
awesome. I want to do that now.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've done is I got a little bit of money to make kits for students in this club to take home. And the kit is a changing bag, a couple rolls of film to get started, a canister so that they can actually roll their film, some monobath, and a clip to hold it up, and a little scanner so that they can scan. And so I will be asking them to do that. And then hopefully, I don't know, Booker was the last person who managed a website for us. Hopefully we can get somebody to also manage a website and perhaps make a book of the images that we have. I know Dylan's like, oh, I can't wait. And I've collected a couple of film cameras from different shows or donations, or Jaden's grandpa. And we're going to be able to do that and kind of rotate that box of materials around, because monobath, you can actually, develop 16 rolls of film in one bath, and it doesn't, I'm still old school. I use monobath, but honestly, I like the traditional developer fix and stop. So
I miss the smell of fix just on my hands
every day. So that's kind of the things that the photo club will give us an opportunity to do. So it is 3:57, and we are trying to keep everything within an hour and not go over, because I value everybody's time, especially the kiddos who have to go do some homework. It's so good to see everybody, and we'll be back in this space in 2 weeks for Photo Club, and we'll make our announcement next week for the winners, right? We'll make our announcement next week for the winners. And on Friday, Booker will be talking to our photo class about his work and his journey. He's 2018. So Emily, you still are the
I'm the oldest.
Yes. Still the
Thank you.
Elodie, when did you graduate?
2012, so about 8 years ago.
Yeah, 2012. And it's so much fun to see everybody kind of enter the space of communication, openness, and sharing a lot of the artistry that we've been able to do. And thank you so much for having me as your inspiration, because you inspire me. All of you inspire me. I did a photo the other day, and I said, Booker, you're the one who inspired me. And he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, you all inspire me so much. So thank you guys for coming. And Photo Club, we did it! Woo! And this is an honor, Shahin, to have you come back to a photo club that
I am so glad it's still running. I just checked the old Facebook page yesterday.
Really
warmed my heart. But Booker, if you want to like learn more about pinhole stuff, there's this really geeky guy on YouTube that I follow. Let me just type in. His name is Joe Van Cleve. And this guy makes various like pinhole cameras, ones with like 8 of them, ones of different shapes, a camera that processes like in camera, that has like a little drop down plate. It's really cool stuff. But Miss G, I can't thank you enough for inviting us. Like, it's an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And Elodie is, she's up for some, for game for some of this as well. I put a calendar out and people are putting their dates on there. So come back for some more. See some more students out there that are coming back. This was my dream, and my dream has come true. And Jaden and Callan and everybody on this call, Ava, Caitlin, Claire, and Enzo, Dylan. This is what you have to look forward to. Thank you so much. Peace out, you guys.
Thank you, Miss G.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Mwah. Out to deal.
Yeah, you don't have a class to go to right now, do you?
Do I have what?
Do you have a class to go to?
No, I just went to the bathroom.
They're still recording.
Oh.
Oh,